You only pretend to want to do this. You just, and those of you that have paid to be here, you're pretending a little more than the fucker, the Nimrods that are on YouTube. And on a conscious level, you really think you want to. You do. You're not cheating yourself, but on a subconscious level, on a sub-rosa level, because of the damage your parents did to you that made you brain dead, you're pretending to want to do this. But you're pretending more than the cocksuckers that are on YouTube. When I was 25, 30, 35, 40 years old, I'd be embarrassed to say I couldn't come up with 20 grand. I'd be fucking embarrassed. You know how many emails I get that I don't have the money? How many offers, solicitations from females talking about sex? Let me translate your fucking seminar into Chinese, Hindu, Hebrew, cocksucker language, whatever it is. Let me tutor your kids. Let me fuck your sons. I can't even imagine when I was 20 years old, I could come up with 20 grand. And I didn't have any fucking money. So how is it now nobody can come up with 20 grand? How is it? How is it possible? Just pick the most loved person in your life, whoever that is. I hope it's not one of your parents, but let's say it is. Your good old mom, that old slag that had you. Instead of letting you roll down the inside of her leg, let's say that's the most important person in your life. If I had a gun in her fucking mouth, you come up with 20 grand by tomorrow, I'm going to blow her fucking brains out. You'd come up with 20 grand. That's how important this is to you, miserable pieces of shit. But we've had people save 5 years to come here. God bless them. Allah be with them. How it took fucking 5 years to come, I don't understand that, but are y'all making $2 an hour like I did in high school? I mean, think about it. Just fucking think about it. Are you making $2 a fucking hour? You came up with $20,000? You live a miserable fucking life if that's the case. Or you're the worst manager of money that God ever created. And for those of you that live at fucking home, you got no expenses. What the fuck? See, now that's how I look at it. How in the fuck can't you do it? If it was important to you. Again, who's the most important person in your life? You got a little kid? I'm going to chop the little fuckhead's head off if you don't come up with 20 grand by Friday. All of a sudden, like Moses came down from the tablets, right? You come up with 20 grand. See, that's how I look at it. So you don't really want this. This is bullshit. You're just jerking off. Everybody understand? Sometimes we got a lot. For staying jerking off, you're just jerking off. On your, like you said, I just learned something. I didn't know that. Fuck, on a handheld. I guess, I never thought of that. I finally learned something here at the fucking seminar. And by the way, just to bring the YouTubers up, a female in the audience told me that women can masturbate on a handheld watching pornography. And so they can make it sticky as well. I never knew that. So I learned something. I fucking learned something. It's about time I learned something here after 24 and a half years. But I mean, we got Davos in the desert, 500 billion, then we got you, who can't come up with 20 grand. I don't want you. No, I'm not suggesting you go out and sell your children for 20 grand. Please, don't misinterpret this. But if it was really, really important to you, you'd find a way. There's no question about it. We had a guy here a few years ago that got $1 million in credit cards. He had $20,000 credit cards. That's what I'm trying to say, the other way. He needed to come up with $1 million. I mean, they send people, I'm told, my kids, when they were still in high school, were getting credit cards. They'd send you a $10,000 fucking MasterCard. So I mean, and that's why the country is going in the toilet. This is the United States. It's going in the toilet someday. We've got, what, 20 trillion in debt? No, how many? We got a lot of trillion in debt. Someday we got to pay the piper. Someday. In 2009-10, I would have let the banks go out of business. We would have started clean. It would have been an enema, and it'd been all over. And the world would have existed. But we didn't. Because Bush didn't want to leave office that way, and Obama didn't want to start office that way, so he didn't. So we just pushed it away another time. I'm almost positive if the same thing happens under Trump, Trump's going to let him go. You know how when you flush a toilet, the tidy bowl man? That's what it's going to look like. And I can just see, going around in a circle, trying to hang on to the toilet. That's what it should be. Now, you just heard Frank on a webinar, live webinar, which you didn't hear, YouTube, for a kid that's been successful. And you just heard him say he did his third acquisition, or he refinanced, got an overdraft, which is like a line of credit, for 120% of both of his acquisitions, which means he paid for the acquisitions on a refinancing, which is classic QLA style. And he said what he was going to do with the money. And because when you do a self-financed deal, you normally have no money to pay the fees. And if you're on a delayed fees, the lawyers and accountants don't like that because they want to get paid, as they should get paid. So he put them off for a second deal, and that was only an 80 self-financed deal, owner finance. So I'm sure he still didn't have enough money. So he had to refinance the whole enchilada to be able to pay the fees to the professionals and pay the board some money for both deals, which we'll show you how to do later on in the week. But you heard it. It's simple. He's in his 9th month from the seminar. And he's in a part of Europe that supposedly it's not possible. The Netherlands, which is bullshit. It's possible everywhere. And it's, as my daughter used to say when she was a little girl, it's easy peasy. But he made the calls. Put this chairman together, used LinkedIn, which I believe is the greatest social media tool that was ever invented. Because you've got people that want to do business linked, pun intended, to people that want business. And for our model, it's perfect because they're people that have never been given free equity for anything. And the templates that we show you what to put in the subject box, all the stuff. You don't even have to think about it. Some of you invariably will change the templates, you'll change the processes, and you'll change the procedures because you'll come up with a better way. And you'll fail. And then you'll blame it. That old fucker in the cab didn't know what the fuck he was talking about because you didn't follow the steps. Because why? Because you really don't want to. You don't want. Being successful is more scary than being a failure like you are now. Because then, can I do it again? Or am I a one-trick fucking pony? Now, I'd rather be a one-trick pony than a no-trick pony. But can I do it again? Can I repeat? And that's the real fear for many, many, many people. They don't want the pressure of having to do it again and again and again. And so that allows you to meander, allows you to lose focus. It allows you to look at other things. And one of the vogue things to do now, after you do 1 or 2 acquisitions, is you're going to diversify. You're going to, I want to take my money and I want to put it in real estate. Or God knows what the fuck you come up with. Instead of riding the horse, not till it needs new shoes, till the motherfucking legs fall off, until you ride the horse into its shoulder joints, into the ground. That's when you stop. When the animal's dead underneath you, and a horse will run until it dies. It doesn't look up and say, hey, boss, I'm tired. The motherfucker just rides and goes until it's dead underneath you. That's how you should ride these deals. Until it's dead underneath you. Then you look for another deal. You heard him say it was in healthcare. He was in healthcare. Healthcare is still hot. It's going to be hot. I predicted it 35 years ago. I didn't know how prolific that statement was at the time, but I sure as hell know now. Rick Scott built the biggest healthcare company in the history of the world from scratch. And it's still hot. It's still hot. Any questions about Frank?
Does he have a healthcare background?
No. He's a managerial project manager. He's a project manager. That's what he did historically. And if I remember correctly, most of his project management was in industrial. Certainly not healthcare.
Did he already know what he was going to do right after the seminar, or did he spend some time trying to find?
No, he decided, I believe, at the seminar. At the seminar, and but as he said, he went back and he wanted to see if it was available, and it was. And I believe he may have mentioned it. I think he said that there was 1,500 acquisition candidates where he is. 1,500. And he may have mentioned, I know from his weekly reports, he went to the 1,500 and then he started at the top again because everybody's position changes. You don't know what's going to happen. And he's going through the 1,500 for the second time now. And he also ascertained, he may have mentioned, as I alluded to, is that he decided that he wanted his particular niche, they needed to have 4 employees or more. 4 employees or more. And that was the 1,500, I think, that was left. Otherwise, it was, 2,000 or 3,000. But he went after it in a systematic way, and when we get there in a couple of days, and you go through the processes, the procedures, and you have the templates, and you've got the scripts, and you've got all this stuff. You don't really have to think about it too much. And the ones that are the most successful don't think about it. They just do it. They just keep pulling the trigger. And we're going to talk to a kid in a couple of days. Who not dissimilar to Frank, been out a couple less months than Frank, and he just systematically is going through the numbers. But all the kids that are successful, with rare exception, just systematically go through the numbers and don't think about it. But I mean, you think about it because. Again, I believe because you're not sincere. It's just like if, they were going to chop your daughter's head off, if you don't come up with 20 grand by Friday, you'd come up with 20 grand by Friday. It's that simple. If I'm going to assassinate your most important loved one in your life, if you don't make an acquisition in the first 3 months, guess what? You'd make an acquisition in the first 3 months. And your weekly reports have on the bottom the record. Quickest chairman, quickest boards, quickest accountants, quickest lawyers, Quickest banks, quickest acquisition. It's 99 days from the day you leave here to the day you close your first deal. 99 days is the record. It used to be 120 days. It was held by me from years ago. But now it's 99 days. And what makes it easy is the internet now. I had to get on planes. I had to get on buses. And now you just... It should be, somebody asked me in the last seminar, how quick could I do it? 30 days maximum. From the day I leave here to the day I close my first deal. 30. We have some people that have gone through the system that think the reason why I give you a year mentor is because it's supposed to take you a year. And guess what? It takes you a year. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you think in the back of your little pea brain, a year, guess what? It takes a year. Now, most of you are dead broke. You don't have 2 shekels to rub together, 2 nickels. So I would think this humble 72-year-old, and there's nothing humble about me, this pretty wealthy 72-year-old, is you want to do a motherfucker as quick as possible. That's what I would think. But you do everything humanly possible not to do that. And you will invent ways. Well, I'll never forget this now. You will invent ways how to take a long time. You will come up with new bullshit ways. Every group amazes me, or it never ceases to amaze me how you come up with new shit to lengthen the process. One of the biggest hurdles, it shouldn't be, is I can't decide which one. I can't decide which one, and some of you have come here with 4 or 5 ideas. Some of you come with more. All of which are dog shit, but I mean, you've come with a... And by definition, I think you factored it into your head. You know, if I have 4 or 5 ideas, it's going to take me 4 or 5 times longer to go through it. That's what I think. You want them to foreclose on your house. You want them to take the furniture out of your house. You want them to repossess whatever fucking penny shit you got. And then you can say, well, I gave it a try with that old fucker, but I mean, that old fucker's crazy as shit. I mean, it didn't work for me. The operative word is it didn't work for you. It's not it didn't work. Remember that house, Josh's house, remember? And that was his dream when you were his roommate. I didn't know that. Guess what happened? Guess what happened? Okay, YouTubers, thank you.